Hello, check 1 2. Is this thing on? Hello, mic check 1 2. Hello, hello. Hey there, everybody, and welcome to Real Time, where we are live talking about film and television and everything in between. And we're back. So let's talk about how the camera that's I'm messing up. It's my first time back. Let's talk about the camera that jump-started my career as a filmmaker. Let's check it out. Hey there, everybody, and welcome again to Real Time. Mustafa Talib here with Cinema King Productions, and thank you all so much for tuning in. It's my first time back in a very, very long time, and I wanted to talk about this maybe in a future live stream, but I could briefly talk about it now. The reason, mainly, that I've been out of commission from doing Real Time was basically that my main computer here, the precious iMac, had failed on me. The hard drive just went kaput. So yeah, while it was getting repaired and trying to fix everything that was wrong with it, I just put Real Time on a little pause, a little hiatus, as if you will. But yeah, we're back. And before we get into the camera that jump-started my career as a filmmaker, I first wanted to talk about the elephant in the room regarding what happened the other day nationally in the US. Look, I'm not making this political. I'm not gonna just do your part and go vote. Just go vote. Just go vote. Go vote. Register to vote. Deadline is October 5th. Go register. Make sure you are registered to vote. And go vote. Let your voice be heard. And do the right thing. Go vote. All right? All right. Now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about the camera that jump-started my filmmaking career. This was, let's see, let's backtrack a little bit. God. This was 2005. I was 14 years old, a freshman in high school. And I remember my uncle, Samir, who was working at the time with the Dallas Morning News as a photo editor, obviously being very much into cameras and things of that sort. He had a whole collection of camera gear, and he somewhat inspired me to get into photography slash filmmaking, because I just found it to be fascinating. Even from a young, early age, I found myself to be very fascinated with the movies. There's one story that I knew growing up when Jurassic Park in 1993 came out in the theaters. I remember my dad telling me, I was trying to tell you, ask you if you wanted to go to the bathroom. Looks like we're having some... Whoa, that is new. I haven't seen that before. Okay, we're good. Okay, sorry about that. Just monitoring to make sure nothing wacky is happening. But yeah, Jurassic Park 1993, in the movie theater, my dad was looking over to me and saying, Mustafa, do you need to go to the bathroom? And this is when the T-Rex was getting out of his pen. And so, yeah, it was pretty insane. I was looking at the screen like in complete and utter, awe, like, oh my God, there's a Tyrannosaurus Rex on the big screen, and it looks so real. Actually, it looks very real compared to some CGI that's out today. We talked about that before. Anyway, but yeah, from a very young age, I was a movie buff, loved going to the movies, loved movie making, loved watching, behind the scenes featurettes on DVDs and VHS tapes, on how certain movies were made. I was just fascinated by it. And that, that drove me to getting into it in the first place. And then my uncle Samir was like, hey, he actually gave me and my older brother a camera that he wasn't using, and it's a very tiny digital camera, as we will see in just a second. But this thing, again, the year is 2005. I'm 14 years old. No idea what I'm getting myself into, but it was something to play with and at least spark some more interest and see if I can be creative with this tool. So the first camera that I had was none other than the Pentax Optio 330. And ironically, it's in a Nikon case right here. The specs on this guy is very, very primitive to today's standards. And I actually have the specs pulled up here. And we first see that it is first a lithium-ion rechargeable battery, which I had to find online to make this video happen, because the battery that was in here originally, I tried taking it out and it had broken quite a bit, actually. I had to use pliers because it had expanded so much. I don't know if you can tell. But yeah, it was expanding in this. I remember finding it and I'm like, oh snap, this is my first camera that I ever owned, which sparked my interest more into photography and filmmaking. And basically, yeah, I took out the battery, and after that I was like, I have to make this work. I have to see what this thing can do. So I went ahead and purchased a battery for it and a charger, and I've been charging that the past couple of days. If y'all been following me on Instagram, the handle will show up in the corner right around there. And yeah, got it hooked up, and this is my first time popping a new battery in to see what it's like. So this is monumental. This is history in the making. Let's see, we're putting this in right. Okay, negative in there, positive in there. Yep, and it's supposed to be squishy, you know, have a little spring to it when it comes out, not supposed to be in place like my previous battery was. Completely stuck. I'm telling you, I have to use the fine point pliers to take it out. So there we go. Battery is in. More on the specs. The card that it uses is not your standard SD. It's actually what professional photographers use. Compact flash. And this is a 2 gig Transcend compact flash. You know, ooh, ah, you know, really big back in the day. Really lightweight, 205 grams without the battery. Fits in your pocket, semi-bulky. Has a little LCD in the back. The megapixel, this is where it's hilarious. We talk about, you know, huge megapixels now, megabits per second for video. The megapixels on this guy is let's see if I'm reading this right. It's a 1 over 1.8 inch sensor. So a 3.34 megapixel photo is what you get out of this. It's very funny, but it is like a power shot. It has a zoom lens, right? Let me see what else. I thought I had more pulled up. It is decently sized though. I mean, even though it's 3.34 megapixels, it's 2048 by 1536 resolution, JPEG 4:3 aspect ratio, optical zoom, right? So it's a real zoom, about 37 to 111 millimeter. That's the distance between the very zoomed out and zoomed in. It does digital zoom, 2x and 4x. Let's see. ISO 100 and 200. Shutter speed can go up to 2000, which is nice. It has different modes, right? You have auto, manual, movie mode, which I found very interesting. Night view, multiple and multiple exposures. You can do different white balance. In movie mode, you have an amazing resolution. You have an amazing resolution of 320 by 240p. That's what I'm talking about. Good stuff. It's LCD, has a viewfinder that's optical. The connectivity, USB AV out. In case you wanted to hook this up to your big screen TV, see what you're getting. And it was made in Japan, July of 2001. And when it came out, it was approximately $800. Yeah, that's what we're dealing with right here. This tiny little guy. So thankful that I, got this from a young age because it helped expand my creativity and helped me develop the skills that I wanted, which led me to where I am now. And I mean, throughout this live stream, I'm going to talk about, progressively my gear, how it got bigger and better over time. So let's go ahead and turn this on. Oh, we got a date adjustment in the back. Okay, let's go ahead and adjust that. We are in October 1st, ladies and gentlemen, of 2020. But the default is January 1st, 2001. So let's go ahead and go 2020. That's right. Go through the years. And the time right now is 6:15 p.m. Wow. Oh, snap. And of course, you have 30 seconds at a time where you can record clips, and it tells you that. I think I took more videos with this than photos. Oh God, the memories. I'm just getting flashbacks. There was some photos that I did look at before doing this, obviously, and the things that were on this card, I wish I could show them to you, but they are embarrassing. But there is a feature which I was very much obsessed about, which I'm still obsessed about to this day in film, which is like, movie magic, really, which is the clone effect. We all learn, that you set your camera down, you do a split screen effect in After Effects or now in Premiere, you line up your two clips and it looks like in the same frame, the same person on both sides of the frame. But then, movie magic has made it more and more believable by changing the angles, getting stunt doubles, face replacements to be all in the same shot. Like, it's really, really advanced stuff. But yeah, that's one effect I remember seeing on this guy right here. Let's see, if we go into photo, I can tell the white balance is set to I think 5600 Kelvin because it's pretty bluish looking in here. You can see that. Yeah, really great stuff. And yep, you can hear that zoom. And yeah, the autofocus is pretty good, actually. Let's see if I can take a picture. Ooh, flash. Look at that. Not bad. Not bad. Let's see. How do we preview? Yeah, you turn the dial to preview that. And you can see, maybe right there or up on this guy. It's not that clear, sorry. Yes, if you have it on preview for too long, the lens will hide away into the body like a responsible camera so it doesn't get damaged. Good times. You can't really be subtle with this. Let's see. You can do macro, you go into the menu, you can change all your settings in there. So resolution, Oh, there you go. Quality. You have 3 stars, up to 3 stars. The white balance, focusing area, wide, digital zoom on. Man, this is some high-end stuff. Wow. Really, really cool. Different modes here for your, self-timer, continuous. If you wanted to if you want to make it macro, manual focus, or focusing infinitely or up close. Man, history. Funny enough, I remember, and you can actually find this video. Oh, snap. That's not good. Come on, there you go. No, okay. Let's see. Close all the way. There you go. Good job, Joey. Let's put you away now before anything happens. Yeah, there is a film I made with this camera. I remember back in high school in either ninth grade, called 35 Seconds of Punches in the Face. One of my first films I've ever made by myself. And what was funny, what I found out later, is that the videos that you record on this camera do not include audio. Does not have any microphone built into it, and you can't add any microphone externally. So all the clips were silent. And so I remember that was actually my first experience putting that film together, basically doing what's called Foley now, where you record separate sounds and then you put them in the editing to make it seem like it was real. So I found a bunch of punching sound libraries, different sound effects, put them in there, put some nice music. Go ahead and check it out. It's in the playlist films, one of the first ones I think I've ever uploaded on there. Another thing I learned with this camera was, and this one was actually nice, stop motion. I had my Transformers from Beast Wars action figures, going from animals to robot forms. Great show, by the way. Definitely check it out. It's coming back, and I think it's going to come back hard, hopefully with the next Transformers movie deal that they're going to put out. I think it's going to include Beast Wars, or at least make a really big attribute to them. But yes, I did stop motion animation with them, trying to transform them and keep them in place. Again, I was very fascinated from a very young age. Watched a lot of Wallace and Gromit growing up, and that was fascinating to see claymation happen, along with that other show. God, it was in the 90s. I'm trying to remember the name of it, but basically it was 2 characters. One was green, one was blue, and they were like in a kid's bedroom or something. Grumpy, Guppy, something to that effect. I don't remember exactly, but still, claymation was a big fascination of mine. So stop motion animation altogether was an interest that I took on, and I remember practicing over and over, because I remember seeing, like, I would take a lot of photos, and then looking in the preview of this, I would scan them quickly just by holding down the button, the forward button or backwards button, and it would animate, right? It would, pretend, or it would give the illusion of motion. And so that gave me the idea of, well, let me try doing stop motion animation. And I was very much into watching a lot of Lego brick films, right? There was a website, I think, called brickfilms.com, where people submitted their short films using Legos and stop motion animation. And really, really great stuff. I remember seeing officially from, I think, Spider-Man. That was a great short with Doc Ock, Dr. Octopus. So yeah, that is the Pentax Optio 330 digital camera. It was because of this guy that I got into, photography and filmmaking, essentially, experimenting with different things, doing a lot of wacky stuff with it, but then ultimately creating that 35 seconds of punches in the face short film, which again you can check out in the playlist on my channel. And if you are new here, consider subscribing. We do real time. We're back with real time, but I've been putting out some more how-to videos, tutorials, and things like that. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you like this live stream as well. But moving on to the next camera, after this was 2005. Let's fast forward a bit to 2012. This is when Canon was already launching a new line of cameras called the Rebel series. And they were rebellious because it was still an APC sensor for a fraction of the price, right, of full frame cameras that they were putting out, DSLRs, but at a much more affordable rate and still some key features. And so I was very fortunate that I got the Canon T2i, the camera that I still use for photography for some projects, and it is amazing what it can do. Firstly, form factor, it's pretty compact. I mean, obviously bigger than a point and shoot, but still DSLR nonetheless. Digital SLR, I forgot what it, single lens reflector, that's what it stands for. And so the specs of the Canon T2i are as follows. We jump up to 18 megapixels. We went from 3.5 to 18 megapixels. So a really, really nice jump there in terms of detail and resolution. And of course, with these cameras, you know, it came with two lenses. The first being the kit lens, the 18 to 55 right here, with a variable f-stop of 3.5 to 5.6 per usual. This helped me understand what aperture was, what having constant aperture was through different focal lengths and things of that sort. Did a lot of experiments with this, a lot of videos with this lens, and also what came with it was the 55 to 250 millimeter telescope lens. Same f-stops as well, 3.5 to 5.6 f-stops. More details on the T2i. Of course, because it was an APC sensor, the 18 to 55 is equivalent to 29 to 88 millimeter on a full frame. So just, you know, you have to keep that in mind. The ISO was from 100 to 6400. Pretty good. You can extend it if you wanted in the settings to go 12,800, up to 12,800. The shutter went up to 1/4000, which is really, really great. And when it was released in February of 2010, it was sold by its, I guess, with the kit lens, $900 US. And again, we got it in 2012 with a bundle with the additional lens. And I remember my dad saying, this is a family project, this thing, so use it, you know, we're all sharing with it, even though I was the only one really using it for the most part. I won't do an honorary mention that we did have camcorders in between. Between my digital camera here and the T2i, I had a Canon camcorder that took mini DV tape. I also had my first real video camera was also from my uncle Samir, the Canon GL2. I was very much a fan of the XL2 because it was the first consumer video camera with mini DV tape that filmed with true 24 frames per second, which is 23.9766666 frames per second. And that was like, whoa, for that time. And I was very much googly eye over that. But the second best thing I got was the Canon GL2. And it had movie mode, but it still essentially was 30 frames per second, 29.977 97777 frames per second. And that was shot with 480p, so still standard definition. You know, the whole widescreen bars and stuff like that, or at least it tried to. So that is the Canon T2i. Then my older brother did get the T3i for himself, but I end up using it a lot as well for some projects. I guess kind of going back to the T2i, I really learned a lot when I started my YouTube channel back in 2008. Right, I was doing a lot of After Effects tests, and that's due to Andrew Kramer with VideoCopilot.net, like most people on YouTube have learned without going to film school, learning the ways of After Effects and video editing in general. But that's when I started my YouTube channel. That's when I started doing skits. You can check them all out. They're all still there. I watch them and I start cringing like, oh man, I would do it so much differently now. But that is the beauty of it, that, you know, when you go back and you check your previous work, you see how much you've grown. And that's the most, I think, valuable thing that you can really be proud of, that you saw where you were and you're seeing where you're going. As time has progressed, as, you know, things have moved on, you've grown as a person, you've grown in your craft. Very, very important to be aware of that and to be proud of that. Yeah, so after I got these lenses, then it was recommended to who is now my sister-in-law, the Canon 50mm f1.8, the Nifty 50, as you may have known. And the reason why it's called that is because it's only $100 to $125, brand new. You can find it used, I'm sure, on eBay or on Amazon maybe. And the reason why it was cheap is because it's made out of plastic, but it still gives you a great looking image when you attach it to your cameras here. Being, you know, an f1.8, being wide open, you allow so much light to come in, but allowing so much depth of field to take place that you have much more cinematic looking image. What was also revolutionary about these Rebel cameras was the ability to do video. Now, I was skeptical to overseeing how long it could record for. And the first gig that I did recording video, it was a lecture. It cut off at 12 minutes, as it's programmed to. Either 12 minutes or 4 gig. That's the trade-off. And so then came the infamous firmware hack called Magic Lantern, which allowed you to record for 30 minutes straight without any interruptions. And it was like, yes, finally, I can record long periods of time. Even though as a filmmaker, you would only do like take after take. But if you were recording long form content like lectures, yeah, 30 minutes is very useful. Instead of in the middle of a lecture, it gets cut off and then it starts up again. So I was very shocked when that happened as I was filming, and I didn't know this before. Great lesson to be learned. Let's see. I'm trying to think what else about the T2i. So far, that's pretty much it that I can think of. The Nifty 50, great lens, would highly recommend it. In addition to that, I also expanded my Canon lenses, and I remember a friend of my sister's getting rid of one of her lenses, which was the 70-300 Quantere lens, a really, really telescopic lens, but it has an aperture of 4 to 5.6, so not much of a big range. It was nice. I did use it for a little bit, but then I had my eye trying to be more efficient with, you know, my gear instead of always getting more and more stuff. Just try to combine things. So I tried looking for a lens that was all-encompassing and wasn't too heavy, and I could take it with me everywhere, you know? And that's when I stumbled across the Sigma 18 to 250 millimeter lens from 3.5 to 6.3 f-stops. Now this is telescopic and a really great lens. I remember doing a few vlogs with that back in the day. Some family trips I would take it on because it just had that huge range. I could be up in the stands at a football game and get all the way down to the field, no problem, and it still be clear. Unfortunately, though, I remember it was summer of 2013 when I got this, and that's because I remember getting it off eBay for about $400. But yeah, soon after, or a bit after that, after actually quite some time, after I've stopped using it, it was having issues in the mechanics inside of it. So I keep it around for basically nostalgia. But some great features that it did have was optical stabilization, right, built into the lens. And I believe these guys did too. Yes, the 18 to 55 and from Canon and the 55 to 250 also had image stabilization in the lens themselves. The body of the camera did not. Let's see, what else? Also, just want to put it out there, if y'all have any questions regarding filmmaking, photography, just want to say what's up, leave it in the live chat. I'll be looking over and saying hi as well. So, moving on. I remember I was let go of my job right out of college. I mean, I got hired right out of college, and I was with that company for about 2 years. And then after that, I was freelancing for 2 years. And during that time, that was 2013 to 2015. I was with that company. 2015 to 2017, I was freelancing. And during that time, I was doing, freelancing gigs using my Canon T2i, producing videos for clients. They were very happy with my work, even though the quality wasn't exactly like the best, but it got by, even though, at the time it was HD. 4K wasn't available to the consumer yet. But yeah, you still get great imagery out of this if you, and again, that's, I guess, what was really awesome about the Rebel series in Canon, and of course other cameras as well. But specifically with Canon, what I liked was the color science straight out of the camera, but also the ability to be completely manual, having complete control over your image from A to Z. And I've talked about this, I think, before, but control over your frame rate, control over your ISO, control over your aperture, control over your white balance, all these different elements together giving you a great looking image to tell your story, right? And that's always the end goal, is to tell the better story. It doesn't matter what gear you have, it's about what story you're trying to tell, and the gear either will hurt you or benefit you in telling that story. So always make sure of that. So yeah, the Canon T2i, I've had it for a long time. And then I decided, after doing one awesome gig with an organization, they gave me the funds to basically allow me to upgrade across the board my new standard. So then this was when 4K was available. And that's when I decided to grab myself the Panasonic GH4 and the GoPro Hero 4 Black and the DJI Phantom 3 Professional drone. And the reason why is because all three of those cameras were in 4K. And so I decided from this point on, I am doing 4K. No questions asked. I need to have a new standard of professionalism, and that comes with quality. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to bite the bullet and get all of those new cameras, essentially. So the specs of the GH4, which I, by the way, believe is still one of the greatest 4K cameras that you can buy right now in 2020. Still very cheap. Now, I did have a reason why I went to the GH4 instead of, just upgrading to like a cinema lens or cinema camera from Canon. And that's because A, it was cheaper, but B, there was a lot of buzz around, oh, there's this combination which gives you really great cinematic looking images, but it is for Canon, but you can get something to put it on the GH4. And I was like, what is this buzz about? And it had buzz for quite a bit, and that was the Sigma 18 to 35 millimeter f1.8. A great lens. It was a bit hefty, but still a great lens nonetheless. And when you paired that with a speed booster with the GH4, because the GH4 is not a Canon lens mount, it is a micro four thirds mount. And that introduced me to the world of micro four thirds and what that meant. So that combination, everybody and their mother was convinced that that's the setup you should have if you want, really cinematic film looking footage. I'm like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And they were right. It was absolutely amazing. A few things about the GH4. Let's see. It did obviously shoot in 4K. It also shot in true 4K, which is 4096 by 2160, or the Ultra HD 4K, which is not technically 4K, but still close enough, 3840 by 2160. It had, a pop-out viewfinder, which I forgot to mention, which was great about the T3i, the older brother to the T2i that I have here, is that it was pretty much the same specs, except that one had the flip-out screen, which made it easier to get, low angles and things like that, so you could articulate it any way you want. What's also great about the GH4 is that it has 1/8000 shutter speed. You can do continuous photo with it, about 12 frames per second, which is really great. What was also really cool is the built-in flat color profile, so that if you wanted to do some major color grading, you had that flexibility to change the highlights, midtones, or the shadows, all within the camera. So you would shoot it pretty much raw and color grade it in post, and it looked very professional, very clean, very cool. So that's the GH4. And then the GoPro Hero Black. Let's talk about that for a little bit. Prior to the Hero 4 Black, I had grabbed myself the Hero 3 Black, and I used that to vlog. If y'all remember back in the day when I was doing my vlogging, that's the first camera that I used. And I did on my bike rides, and I, filmed a bunch of stuff during my freelancing years. Just capturing my life and some projects that I was doing as well, some behind the scenes, really experimenting with the vlogging lifestyle. It was an interesting time, but I remember getting that off of Craigslist, I believe, and then I got the accessories for it, and I want to do so much cooler stuff. And then the movie Hardcore Henry came out, completely shot on the GoPro, 2 of them actually, that were shot next to each other, for the 3D effect, but also to give a bigger resolution. You could not film in okay, I take that back. You can film in 4K with the Hero 3 Black, which is what they used on the film, but it was 15 frames per second. So they shot at 22.7K on both cameras at 24 frames a second. And that's how they got a nice frame there. But moving forward, the Hero Black. I wanted 4K across the board with all my cameras that I was filming with, so I wanted to upgrade that as well. So it did shoot 4K, 3840 by 2160, and it had a lot of flexibility. You could shoot, flat color profile. Again, if you wanted to match it with your other cameras that are shooting in flat color profiles, you can match the colors like that. It's a sports camera, so you can put it underwater, get some great action shots. And I mean, everybody loves GoPro. It's just a small form factor. It's actually right here. You can see. Come on, there you go. If you accessorize it, you can get a nice vlog setup with it, which I've talked about in the past. Pretty decent battery life. Just hook up a microphone and you're set. You're ready to go. But the best part about GoPros was that they were small. And then they came out with the GoPro Sessions, which were really great, which I got for my good friend Haddad for his birthday. I remember that being one of the vlogs. He really much enjoyed that. But it was basically just stripping away the whole rectangular structure and just doing a cube. So you can put it literally anywhere, even your own glass if you wanted that interesting looking shot. Let's see what else. It has photo burst mode, which is really cool. If you wanted to capture a burst of photos going across with the GoPro, you can put it in that mode as well. You could, it was a video camera as well in a small compact form. So you had control over your shutter. You had control over your white balance, and ISO, everything that you need to get a great image. A lot of times they were used in car films, I think, just again for those few shots that you can't put, a big camera in. You put a GoPro and still get high quality. Then, of course, the drones. So the Phantom 3 Professional. Shot in 4K and was up in the sky. What else do you need to know besides that? I wish it could have at the time shot at higher frame rates in case you wanted to slow things down but still get some really smooth looking shots. What was also revolutionary with DJI, I don't think they were the first, but they made their product the best by enhancing the gimbal head on these drones so that it's stabilized footage. No matter how you're flying it, it will always keep it leveled. No matter how windy it was or no matter how high you are, it will always keep it straight and leveled. Let's see. Not really much to talk about that. So then after that, I was very much inclined to get now the Panasonic GH5. And I remember doing an unboxing with my brother on that on the channel. If y'all haven't checked that, go ahead and look for it. But a great camera because it did 4K at 60 frames per second. So you get amazing slow motion in 4K. But then also if you did full HD 1080p, you can get up to 120 frames per second, I believe. Or no, 180. I take that back. 180 frames per second. And then for my bachelor party, I did get the GoPro Hero 7, which does 4K 60 as well. And then last year, I got the Mavic Air from DJI. I sold my Phantom 3 Pro, had it for a very long time, had it replaced as well. Remember taking it to Australia, getting a lot of great clips from there. And then I sold it and used that money and spent a little bit more to get the Mavic Air bundle. It's a great drone, and I do wish I could maybe upgrade in the near future for the Mavic Air 2 because it's also 4K at 60. So why am I talking about all this? Why am I talking about the camera gear? Why am I bringing it up in the first place? Oh, hey guys. Sorry, I didn't see the live chat. Amen and Matic. What's up, guys? Thanks, y'all, for tuning in. I really appreciate it. But yes, why am I talking about this in the first place? The reason why I'm bringing it up is because we all start from somewhere. Whatever craft that we are getting ourselves into, artistically, creatively, whatever it is, you always have to start from somewhere. And somebody like me, which I'm very blessed and I'm grateful that I got to this point in my career, being a filmmaker, working for a corporate company that's very, very prestigious and very popular, making videos for them. It would not have been possible if I didn't pick up this first camera, right? The Pentax Optio 330 digital camera and started messing with it and proving myself and proving to others, showcasing to others that I'm good at this and I can do more. And so yeah, I'm very grateful and I'm very happy that I got this far, and only looking forward to seeing what's next and what's beyond the horizon. Um, I do have a little announcement that I wanted to share with you guys, that starting tomorrow, I'm going to be participating in the 48-hour filmmaking challenge. I'm very excited about this because I've never participated in one before. I've always wanted to. And alhamdulillah, we have a great team. Shout out to my filmmaker buddy, Fauzi, and a few others who are coming together. We're going to be making something great, hopefully. So we're just going to be waiting until tomorrow to know what either character or dialogue or prop that we have to use, and make a full short film in 2 days, in 48 hours. I'm very excited about that, and can't wait to share that with you guys, either being behind the scenes or if I can present it here on my channel. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end this live stream of Real Time. If y'all enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you hit that post notification down below. I'm very excited to be back. This is Mustafa Talib with FILMMAKER Productions, signing off. And I'll see y'all in the next one. And real quick, let me know if y'all enjoyed the new intro to Real Time. Picked it out myself. Anyway, I'll see y'all later. Peace.